Hello, hello. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? Good evening, good evening. Yes, we are live here. Daughters, arise and speak. Arise and speak. We know that God has something for us to do as his daughters. And I know that he has something to say through you. So I'm inviting you. You're here. You know that this is of benefit to you. Please like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't yet. I am Krista J. Paul, your transformation coach. I'm a gospel artist, speaker, author, and the Lord has really led me to do this teaching session. Daughters, arise and speak. And this evening, we're going to be looking at creating, building your speeches and presentations. I know that there are so many women who would do so much more if only they knew what to do and what to say. So I'm going to dive into that this evening with you. Please let me know from where you're watching. Please feel free to ask any questions as we go along as well. If there's anything you're not understanding, if you have something you want to ask, please let's make this interactive. Okay. I am going to share with you what I would have been teaching from my course that I did, Empower Your Speech. I am certified in voice and speech. I did 3 of 5 courses with the Creative Production Training Center in Jamaica. That was over 20, at least 20, 21 of 22 years ago. Hello from Barrie, Ontario. Hi, thank you for joining us, Danisha. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, so good to see you. So I would have done 3 of 5 courses with the Creative Production Training Center. And let me tell you, speech preparations was one of the topics that I loved. I loved preparing speeches and presenting them and diving into it. And I did my visual aids. I believe strongly in visual aids. Unfortunately, because I'm going YouTube live right now, I won't be able to share my screen. But I believe in visual aids for presentations, and I just love doing it. And I want to be able to impart to you what I would have been learning over the years since then, even as in my capacity as radio announcer and content creator in radio. All right. So let's dive in. I'm going to be sharing with you actually a part of my course that I created, Empower Your Speech. Empower Your Speech. And this is creating speeches and presentations. And I want to be able to just share this section with you. Early next year, 2026, I will be, in Jesus' name, launching my first coaching program, my first group coaching program. It's a 12-week coaching program where for the first 12 weeks, we'll be looking into identity in Christ and our brains and meditation. And we're going to be doing some mindset shifts and building up ourselves in Jesus Christ. And then we're going to speak the word. So for the first 6 weeks, we build up ourselves. And this is going to be based on my course, Become God's Best Version of You. And then for the second 6 weeks, you're going to be dealing all about speech and pronunciation, enunciation, how to present a speech, the things you need to do. And I'm going to be coaching you in that regard. I'm looking forward to it, needless to say. And you can look out for it. All right. If you're not yet following me, please follow me on social media at Krista J. Paul, everywhere. LinkedIn, I'm not as active on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you can definitely find me there. Okay. Now, welcome, welcome. I'm going to dive right into this session. I'm going to be teaching you from my course, Empower Your Speech. And this is on speech and presentation preparation. Okay. So let's dive in. You're going to want to get your pen and paper ready as we go. Now, first of all, what is a speech and what is a presentation, and is there a difference? Well, a speech is a formal talk, usually to a large number of people on a special occasion. This is from the Cambridge Dictionary. And a speech could be done at weddings, a seminar, webinar, TEDx talks are speeches, videos, if you're doing video presentations, graduation speeches, and we know the rest. A presentation, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, is a talk giving information about something and is usually accompanied by visual aids. So you have your visual aids and you see, You allow the people to see what it is you're talking about, because visual stimulation is very, very important. I believe in this. Now, types of speeches or presentations: you can give information, you can give instruction, for entertainment, or persuasion. So you can have a speech just giving information. You need to let the people know what is happening in this regard, what is happening in subsector A, what is happening in this parish or in this county. And you can give your speech in that way, or your presentation. You have your charts, your Gantt charts, your bar charts, pie charts, for them to be able to see visually what it is that you're talking about, and it helps to stimulate their brains in this way. Now, as with the script or any other content writing, your audience, your medium, your purpose, and the time period would need to be determined. So, one more time: your audience. To whom are you speaking? To whom are you speaking? Are you speaking to a group of young people? Are you speaking to Christian business women? Are you speaking to CEOs? Are you speaking to farmers? Are you speaking to people with mental health, in the mental health industry? Who is it to whom you're speaking? It needs to be established, for one. Two, the medium. Is it going to be virtual? Is it going to be in person? How is it going to be delivered? Three, you need to determine the purpose of your speech or presentation. Why is this necessary? Tuning in from Canada, good evening, good evening. Tuning in from Kingston, Jamaica. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh man, I love this. I love this. Now, why is it that you're giving this speech? What is the objective you want to achieve? Is it that you want for people to be persuaded? Is it that you want to persuade them that your way is better than what they're doing right now? We see, for example, AI, artificial intelligence, is huge right now. And we're knowing that there are more and more companies utilizing AI. Is it that you want to persuade your organization, to over which your management, that listen, we need to engage in AI tools. We need to utilize these things. Is it that you are speaking to your church ladies and say, listen, we need to be better stewards of what it is that God has given to us? Is it that you're in entertainment? And we know that entertainment can cover all kinds of medium, all kinds of media, whether you are singing, giving you're a comedian, you're doing jokes, right? That's the word I'm looking for. You're doing jokes, or what is it that you're doing in terms of entertainment? And the time period would need to be determined. Is it 5, 10 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes? Are you doing an hour and a half presentation? You need to determine the time. You need to have the time so that you can then plan accordingly. Now, when it comes to speech or presentation, it's important to bear in mind that you are the speaker, and there is a channel through which your message is being relayed to the receiver, who is the audience. Through that channel can come barriers to communication, whether it's language differences. If you're speaking to one of my pet peeves is to see a politician talking to children 5, 6 years old, and I've seen it more than once, and using all these big words like pontificate and capitulate. And I'm like, what are you doing? They will not understand you. Stop, please. So you need to determine your audience and speak to the audience accordingly. Hello, Pauline from Jamaica. Good to have you. Thank you very much for coming, for being here. And you need to know to whom you're speaking and speak accordingly. It's not of any use. It's not going to be beneficial to anybody if you're speaking to a group of middle income individuals and they have nothing to do with science, and you're going into all the scientific detail and they're not interested because they're farmers, for instance. So unless it is that you're going to relate the science to farming and how they can use science to better yield crop, then that would be different. Okay. So those are the components of speech. Now, we also need to take into consideration, write this down. How are you going to begin your speech? People usually tend to begin with some kind of a hook. Some kind of a hook. Are you going to ask a question? Are you going to use statistics or facts, especially if they're shocking or surprising? Are you going to be controversial? Are you going to be benefit driven? Are you going to quote a famous individual? You can start with a call to action. I found a statistic that I just want to share. I say, imagine beginning your speech by saying, did you know that some studies find that women are underrepresented significantly as speakers at events? Only about 20 to 25% are female speakers. Only. Therefore, 75 to 80% of speakers are male. And that's something we need to think about. And this is at professional and academic conferences. If you're speaking to a group of women like I am to you, and I'm saying, listen, ladies, we need to let our voices be heard. Did you know that in professional and academic conferences, some studies find that only about 20 to 25% of these speakers are women? And I'm quoting facts here. Okay. And it says here, for example, a 2025 study of GI conferences found only 24.8% women speakers and 41.4% panels, that is all male panels. Similarly, a study of ANHS conferences from 2007 to 2019 found that only 19.1% of invited speaking roles were offered to women. This is why, ladies, I am encouraging you, beseeching you, please do not cower in fear. And it is time to arise and speak. Speak the message that God has given to you in the marketplace, because our message and our light is needed in the marketplace. It is incumbent upon us to get this done. So you start with your hook. You ask a question, as I did just now, or you have something controversial. You give something to catch their attention. If you watch TEDx talks, you notice that a lot of TEDx talkers do this as well. You maybe introduce yourself. A good introduction grabs audience attention. It gives the topic, it's relatable and relevant. It establishes credibility and provides an overview. So you give your introduction. Some people start with a story. I told you, I began with my story. I am certified in voice and speech. I've been in radio for 26 years. So it establishes credibility, because then people say, oh, she knows what she's talking about. And don't be afraid to give your story. If you're not wanting to give your story, if you're not desirous of relaying your own story, find a story to give. Somebody you know, somebody who you read about. You quote a famous person. Do you know the story of Ben Carson? Do you know that Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey, they were poor. They were poor, but then now they're multi-billionaires because they worked their way up to the top. That story that gives that emotion that riles people up to want to listen to what you have to say. So you introduce yourself and you state your topic. Then you get to the body of your speech, your presentation. What will it entail? You definitely want to give facts. You absolutely want to make sure that you stick to the points. You write out the points that you have to make and make sure that they are in sequence, they're logical, people can follow it easily. And be careful not to go off on too many tangents and lose your audience. Similarly, offering too many points in a short speaking period can possibly lose or confuse your audience. It is best to offer the top 3 to 5 points for, say, a 10 to 15-minute period, offering value with each salient point. Okay, so you want to organize your information in sequence, in order, cause and effect. If you do this, this is what is going to happen. I did this presentation on Monday, in my live on Monday, where I talked about Oh dear, it just evaded me. Who do you think you are? Right. Satan's lies. And then I went through God's truth. So you have your points, your salient points that are relevant, and you go through your points in order and in sequence. Group information if addressing different categories of audience. So it's easier for them to digest. Okay. Then, as I talk about visual aids, you have your images, your charts if you can, and you point to your chart. In another video, I will talk about how to present your information. Right now, for instance, I'm making eye contact with you, eye contact, so to speak. I'm looking straight in my camera. Yes, I'm looking at my notes here if you see me looking down, but I'm not looking at myself. I'm not speaking to myself. I'm speaking to you and I'm looking in the camera lens. Similarly, if you are doing a virtual presentation, you want to look in the camera lens, okay? We'll look at that in more detail in another video. So it's important for you to have the body of your presentation. Make contact with your audience. Then you conclude, you have to land the plane at some point. You have to land the plane. And the conclusion then summarizes what was presented and gives closure to your information. It should somewhat be shorter than your introduction because you would have given all the information necessary, whether you want to persuade your audience, you presented your charts, your images, etc. You can reiterate the hook from the beginning. And I would have mentioned to you, did you know that there are only 20 to 25% of female speakers at professional and academic conferences? You can definitely end with the beginning. You can definitely end with the hook that you had at the beginning. Reminding them that, listen, this is what I said to you at the beginning. During the course of my presentation, I said to you that we need to rise and speak. We need to let our voices be heard because our words have power. And I presented that body to you in the presentation, for argument's sake. This is what my example. And now I'm landing the plane, reminding you again of the hook that I gave at the beginning. Only 20 to 25% of speakers were women at the professional and academic conferences. So this is why we need to do what we need to do. Okay. Now, you need to make it clear that you have finished your speech. Land the plane. Remember, the conclusion must be the most outstanding in your audience's minds. Did you know that what people hear last is what they're going to remember the most? Yes, studies have found that what people hear last is what they remember the most. So you want to make your conclusion impactful, just as impactful as you worked on it for the beginning, the introduction. Now, I want you to consider as well, if you're going to read or if you're going to present, not reading. This is definitely something that we need to take into consideration. If you're going to be reading your presentation or your speech, please, I'm going to reiterate, make eye contact with the people. They need to know that you are speaking to them, speaking to the heart, speaking to their emotions. Make eye contact. If you're reading word for word, still just look up. Practice if you need to. No, not if you need to. Practice your speech looking up at individuals so that they can be connected with you. Eye contact makes a big, big difference. If you're not reading, ensure that you still follow your points, right? You want to still be following your points so that they can get across and that people can know and understand what it is that you're saying, and you don't sound as if you're rambling all over the place. So make eye contact whether or not you are reading. Preparation in point form, if you're not reading, will require committing to memory the information being given. If it is that something, if you're presenting on something with which you're familiar, an industry or a ministry that you're intimately familiar with, then it will be easier. But if you're not very familiar with it, please do study. Please do practice. I beseech you, therefore, my brethren, my sisterin, to practice, because it is going to be clear that you're not very knowledgeable and you don't know what you're speaking about to your audience. Okay. Not having to read then makes room for hand gestures, use of body language, easier use of visual aids, and increased creativity. You can walk around the room because you're passionate about what you're talking about, and you can, or on the stage, as the case may be, you can connect with your audience. You can go straight to an audience member and say, did you know that this is what is happening? And you're engaging the audience with, if you're not reading. But if you're reading, eye contact is key. So I just want us to remember these key points, okay? Go through your checklist. Is your introduction good? How are you going to introduce your speech, your presentation? Is it by a hook, a question, a stark statistic, something that will rivet in the minds of the individuals, your audience? Remember your body, your introduction first. Why is it that you need to do this? What is the cause of what it is that's happening here? Get into the body then of your speech or presentation. Let them know why it is that you need to convince them. Why are you persuading them? Why do they need this information? And then you land the plane with your conclusion. Consider whether you're going to read or you're going to not read. Connect with your audience either way. And I want to encourage you as well. Relax and enjoy your speech. How you relay is going to be evident. If you're relaxed, it's going to be evident, and people will enjoy your speech or presentation. They want to hear what you have to say just as much as you need to say it. Let me repeat. Your audience wants to hear as much of what you have to say. You know what? I just didn't remember what I just said. But you get my point, right? They want to hear just as much as you have to say it. You need to say it. So, ladies, my sisters, that is my conclusion to you. And that is how you prepare. If you need to go back over and hear what I had to say, thank you, sis. Excellent. Thank you. I invite you to watch the replay and make your notes, okay? And just remember these points while you're building your presentation or your speech. God bless you. Daughters, arise and speak. Until next time on a Monday or Wednesday at 7 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time or Eastern Standard Time. Join me again for the next one, okay? Thank you so much for joining. Share and share. God bless. Great points. Thank you.